Hi everybody, this is Anthony with Striglia Enterprises. In this video I'm going to show you how to add a drop-down option list to a screen. Native QuickBooks and Method does not have a sales order status drop-down like the estimates do. So we're going to add that to this screen as a drop-down demonstration. So you need to do two things. You need to create a table that has your drop-down options, and then we want to add that linked field to the sales order, or that linked table to the sales order table. There's a couple different ways to do this. You can create the table when you add the field to the sales order, but I want to actually just show you how to create the table from scratch. It's pretty much the same thing. It's a little easier to do it with this workflow than add it when you're adding the field, but we're going to say sales order status for the table. You can add a description, you don't have to. When you start to get into more complex workflows and more complicated tables that link to other tables and do different things, you may want to start adding descriptions to the table so you know what they do when you go back and look at them. Okay, and then we're gonna add a new field. So by default, when you create a table, you get record ID and last modified date. Those are the two things that are required in a table. Record ID is required in just about every any kind of databasing system, and I believe last modified date is as well. But we are going to add a table called status, and that's just going to be a text field. We can do this. We don't have to because this is going to be we're not going to really maintain this table through method. We're just going to import our statuses and be done. Okay, so once we create this table, let's add this to the sales order screen, and we'll link it to the sales order table, add it to the screen, but there's no statuses right now. So we're going to work backwards a little bit, and then I'm going to show you how to import the statuses. So let's come back to tables and fields, and we're going to jump into sales order. And we will add the field called status. And this is going to be a linked field using the sales order status. Oops, it's going to be a drop-down field using the sales order status table. And this is where you can create a new table, and you can create a new table name, and then you can actually paste the data right in here. I want to make it very obvious what the structure of what we're doing is, which is why I didn't want to create the table over here. And we understand that it's a table in the same schema as the rest of the tables, and not just being added kind of inside this table or as a subsidiary of this table. It's still a table in the schema. So we're going to do sales order status, and then the field name we want is status. And actually, you have to make that unique if you want it to link on that. You don't have to use this. You can use the record ID, and then you can say this is probably a better way to do it. And then coming back and putting the name in, because sometimes you do want to use those record IDs in different automations or code or something like that. So now we'll do sales order status. This is linked now because we already have the table linked to the sales order table. So sales order status record ID, and now we want the status. So what we've done there, instead of just linking the name, we've basically linked the record ID and then the name. So we did both, just in case we ever want to use both here. Okay. So again, let's go add that to the screen. There's nothing in there right now, but we'll import some stuff and then it'll show up. So I have one sales order here. Let's add the status over here above assigned to. So we're going to customize screen, and if you watched my last video, you know how these versions and um, copies work. So we're going to make a copy, get a version 1, get a version 2 in the draft, and then the version will continue to increment. Okay, so let's do assign to, add a row above that, and then we will add our drop down field. Now, there is another way to do this. Not necessarily the right or wrong way, just another way. If you add a drop down from the objects picker here, you can select what table that you want to use for this drop down. So then you could say sales order status. But this does not say, this is not a field in your table. So this won't save your selection with this record. Now you can do this and then have a text field that you can fill in, or even update the drop down actual field that we created, but you can also just put the status field on the screen and it will be a drop down. So I'm going to do sales order status, record ID, and then when we come in here, we do have the ability to change what we see here. So if we have status as the first thing under record ID and it's a unique field, that's what will show on the screen. Okay. We're not going to change any filters and views, but you can do lots of different cool things. So sorting, this is something interesting. So if you ever have to add a status, like we'll look through our status list when we get that far. Basically, if you need a way to order the statuses a certain way, you can add a list order field and then make those numerically how you want it to be ordered, and then use that to sort the drop down. It's a bit more advanced for these simple quick videos, but we're going to save this. So we have sales order status, record ID. Now we have no statuses. We didn't put any statuses in that table. Remember, we created the table. We did not put any records in the table. So we have no records found here. We also want to change this to just say status. So let's do that quick, and then we'll go import those records. So sales order status, let's just make this status. And then I have a list of statuses that I'm going to grab. And this will be a quick import tutorial as well. So here we go. We're going to go to integrations, import, other, paste. There's my list, sales order status. Okay. Now if we go back to sales order and we pull down on that status field, we'll have all our statuses that we just imported. And if we put this sales order into a status and save it, and let's go make another sales order from a different estimate. And then we don't have any kind of status here, right? But the one that we did create a status for, we have our status. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching. More to come.